What up, guys? Welcome to Base Damage, and this week a return, a blast from the past, so to speak. We have Miroku on for the first time in a long damn while, my dude.
Yeah, it's certainly been a while.
Absolutely. I believe it was since the single digits of podcast numbers. I could be wrong on that. I don't know. So for anyone who isn't familiar, anyone new who isn't familiar with him as much, you've been on the oh my goodness, what was it? The little tournaments that we had. You were on the first. You won the first tournament that we did
Right.
for doing giveaways. And also you were the creator of the Nox Core deck that got posted up a long while back.
Right.
Have I posted anything else that you've had? I cannot recall off the top of my head, but that's like the main two things.
You did the Weapon Heiress when it won the first tournament,
Correct.
and I think you did the Elite Four thing, but
That's what it was. Okay, I knew there was something else for it that was like big to me. So Elite Four was like the big one there because that's an amazing budget deck. So,
yeah, but it quickly got outshadowed by a budget deck that actually ran level 3s, so.
this is true too. Thus being Nox Core. So, anywho, I'll probably see if I end up posting up those or links for those in the descriptions as well if everybody wants to check those out. But so I wanted to bring you in because you have the horrendous love-hate relationship with Konosuba at this point, but
Yeah,
also
that's a thing.
yeah, I also very much enjoy the series. So, spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched this anime or who doesn't just know that we got Konosuba 2 confirmed for English at some point. So, it was that and Apocrypha. We're getting Apocrypha, and that maybe next year by the time we get it, we don't know. But I figured, hey, if we're getting it in English, I kind of want to go over it and let everybody see what is in store.
The entire announcement of Konosuba Set 2 makes a lot of the cards I picked up for Set 1 pointless.
Yeah. I mean, there's still going to be good stuff in both. Like, as far as, like, from the first set, still, obviously. But,
Yeah, but it completely changes the deck that I wanted to play.
fair enough. Which you've probably looked over this a bit more than I have. I am, for the most part, going into this fairly blind.
I looked into the blue a little bit, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously can't afford red.
Fair enough. So, mega memes are a thing. Or mega meme, depending on how some people want to say. Anyway. So, as per the new setup, there's only 3 colors in here. So, usually where I would try to go over like 2 colors and just do it 2 parts of a podcast in as far as covering over set discussions now, since this only has 3 colors and yellow is the biggest or highest count of cards in single colors for this, I figured part 1 is just going to be going over yellow and our thoughts on that, and I figured toss in the promos, which is like 4 promos or something of that nature. Scrolling down, yeah, it's like 4 promos. So I figured go over those. There wasn't a trial deck or anything for this for the second set, was there?
I
I don't think so.
don't think so.
I'll check it later, and if there is, I'll end up doing another separate video for that to post up later. So, don't know off the top of my head, but we're just going to stick to the booster pack for this. So, and then part 2, we're going to try to do red-blue. So, anywho. So, also, screen share isn't a thing for Skype web browser. So, anyhow, so I'm going to go ahead and be pulling up some of these. We're going to start with, obviously, going over the double rares and the rares. And that's, for the most part, what we're going to cover. Since this is blind for me and semi-blind for Miroku, we're not really going to cover anything else past that. So if anybody else, just go ahead and put this out here now. If we don't cover something that any listeners, couple hundred of you, I don't know how many there are anymore. I haven't checked the subscriber count in a hot minute. If anybody notices a card effect that we get wrong, or notices or wants a certain card to be pointed out, maybe a common or an uncommon, please comment it in the comment section. It would be greatly appreciated, and be able to show it for everybody else who's also looking into this set as well. Um, for this one, obviously, just keep it to the yellow cards. As far as like anything else in there that you see would be awesome, because there's really cool darkness cards, I'm certain, in here, because darkness be fabulous. Phil cannot get over the whole masochistic knight thing. So he can't or 8-ball. He can't watch Konosuba specifically because of dankness. I thought that was funny. But also, Tim, we used to alternate as far as like having people go around a table saying each effects. I'm just going to try to go through them, and then we just try to give our best interpretation of the effects.
All right.
I can usually just like streamline it fairly quickly, and it just saves a little bit of time there. So
For me.
he's like, less I have to talk, right?
Exactly.
No, you're good, dude.
Or I can devote brain power to Banana Oni.
The banana. Oh yeah, grand order because reasons. So first one we have is Seeing Off Chris. It is a 001k, 1 soul. Let's see. So during your turn, your other character in the front row center slot gains 1500 power. So fairly decently sized offensive buff on your turn. So,
Yeah.
then a Brainstorm. Pay 2, rest 2 characters. Flip over the top 4 cards of your deck. Put them in the waiting room for each climax. Search your library for up to 1 yellow or adventurer character. Put it in your hand. Shuffle your library. Shuffle your deck. That is actually really cool. Like, there's adventurer cards in each color,
Right.
but it prevents you from grabbing basically anything in there that isn't part of the main 4. As far as, because I think I can't remember outside of like Megumin's Magic Adventurer, Aqua's
Goddess Adventurer.
Union was an adventurer. It was just magic for her, right?
I believe she's magic. I don't believe she has adventure.
I don't think she does either. But see, like this Chris has adventurer, so I'll actually pull up one of the Union cards in a little bit here just to double check that. Let me go ahead and see if I just find like whatever the first one I see in red. So Bunny Girl Union, little fan service there. We're doing a sneak peek into next week's podcast because I just for the like obviously I don't think it'll touch Wiz. Wiz is like magic and death. Okay, so
Right.
Union it has adventurer for this. So I was wrong. I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again at some point. I was just now.
So she's magic adventurer.
Mm-hmm. So,
Okay.
so it doesn't hit Wiz or Eris, basically.
Right. She's only got the goddess trait.
And there's like some Axis cult stuff and whatnot. But for the most part, if you try to stick to the main people of it and Union apparently, well, and Chris because she's adventurer. So it'll still hit quite a few targets for the entirety of the deck.
Right.
More often than not.
Still a good generic searcher.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And then still, like, just grab any yellow character in general. So there's probably some other really good stuff in yellow that isn't adventurer. But
Right.
so I'm liking this Brainstormer so far. So definitely covers a lot. Then we have
Right.
Iron Wall Crusader Dankness. I don't care. I'll say it. 1045, 1 soul. When this attacks, if you have another character with adventurer or magic, she gets 1500 power for the turn. So it puts her up to a 6. And then climax combo. When the battle opponent of this becomes reversed, if My Heart Will Nev, cut off abruptly, is in your climax zone, search your library for up to 1 character with adventure or magic. Reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle the deck. So, My Heart Will Nev. Let me see what this is. So, she's trying to proclaim her who she is truthful to, and then is like, oh wait, never mind. So it's a 1k1 spin trigger. So that's actually pretty cool, considering that'll put her up to a minimum of 7 before any other buffs.
True.
So
Plus, with the previous Brainstormer, they could potentially get over most walls
Ooh,
at level 1.
true. You put her in the middle center. That's an 85 before anything else. Ooh, I'm liking this so far. So she get
Plus,
big.
it's a free surge.
Oh, absolutely. Just have to reverse. And I know people's opinion on a whole bunch of the whole reversal effects because of AOT's shenanigans, but I can look past that because it's a better Shimakaze. That's for damn sure. Uh,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, no, that's absolutely awesome. You ain't got to pay stock or anything. So awesome. So the dankness is real. Oh god, this
Plus,
guy.
it grabs adventure and magic,
Mm-hmm. So that
so
would
it's not color specific either.
true. So that would even let you grab people like the Wiz or whatever, because she was Yeah, I said she was Magic Death if I remember correctly.
Right.
Um, or this dude, apparently who is Mask and Magic, Duke of Hell Veneer. So why do I feel like I've read this before? Okay, maybe I have looked over these cards before because I was like, wait, I think I've seen this. So I probably have actually looked at this set before. I just don't think we did a podcast on it because it was only JP. So yeah. So a 3/2 85 2 souls. So 85 already is stating it's probably going to have something funky. But with this having magic trait and being yellow, this can be grabbed with that previous brainstormer or grabbed with the darkness. So
Right.
during your turn, it gains 2 stacks. So I'm sorry, I'm making DPYGO memes. So it gains 2,000 power and is at that point it's a 10-5. So it's just offensively is big. The turn it's placed from hand or via change to stage. So something to look out for later. There's another veneer that changes into this, or probably something close to that. When damage dealt by this is canceled, mill the top card of your deck. Oh, cool! It's Musashi.
Variable burn.
Yeah, it's Musashi. Put the top card of your library in your waiting room and deal X damage to your opponent. X is 1 plus the level of that card. If it's a climax, it's a level 0. It counts as 0. So you're almost always going to burn for at least 1, possibly more. So, and damage cancel can occur on that. So then at the start of your opponent's... Oh, sorry, third effect. At the start of your opponent's draw phase, you can put this in the waiting room. If you do, choose a Power of the Mask Darkness in your waiting room, put it in the slot this was in, and that character gains 2,500 power for the turn. Sorry, trying to stay hydrated here. Yeah. So already, Musashi effect alone makes this something I would like to splash in personally. I don't know if anybody else is going to, but
Yeah. If I'm remembering right, I believe the Power of the Mask is also a larger character that you can wall up behind. It's an interesting combo.
Oh yeah, because this dude did end up possessing darkness in the anime or something like that. Or she ended up it was some weird
Possessed
stuff.
by the mask, basically.
Son of the Mask? No. What was that with Jim Carrey? No. Son of the Mask wasn't with Jim Carrey. The first one was.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't seen those movies in years. Anyway, so I'm going to leave him pulled up just for a bit here, and we'll come back to him because I think, if I remember correctly, that's only a little bit of the ways down. No, I don't see where it's at. So wait, it's Power of the Mask. Oh, okay, that's number 11. So it's a bit further down, but it's still in the rares. So I will leave that pulled open to the side, and we will go back to that. Okay, so that is still part of the ones we're going to cover.
Right.
So next one is also still in the double rares, Running Off Darkness. So is a 3/2, 10k to soul. Couple effects up here, but we have a heal on play. So heal 1 on play, and when this attacks, if first time feeling uplifted is in the climax zone, you can pay 1 stock. If you do, choose one of your characters, and that character gets 2,000 power and the ability for the turn that when damage dealt by this is canceled, you can deal 2 damage to your opponent. So Being able to give a 2 cancel burn to something is actually kind of nice.
It's not horrible.
Let's see. First time being uplifted. What is that? Let's see what you do here, boy. Every time I say boy now, I either think of Foghorn Leghorn or Kratos. You know. First time feeling uplifted. Double soul crit, and when it's placed from hand to climax zone. Yellow stock from waiting room, and everybody gets a soul. So it pays for itself. Like, that alone's nice if you want to do that combo.
Yeah, jump starts it.
So with a level 1 Dankness Searcher, and I know it has other climax combos in the first set, or like Darkness has other climax combos in the first set. You could easily make a mono Dankness deck.
Oh, absolutely.
So it makes me wonder, like, how many other... I mean, you obviously could probably make like mono decks for a lot of the characters anyway prior to this, or really close to it. And this set's probably going to help with that. Anybody who wants to make like a mono character deck probably can easily do it off of this. Except for Cabbage. Cabbage is its own thing entirely. So, okay. So you're swinging with 3, and then if... Well, at least with her, you're swinging for 3. If someone else is already swinging for 2 or whatever, if you're trying to poke for like exact amounts of damage as well, it also works pretty well that way.
Yeah. I can see this being played like the Yamis.
True. Like, I definitely agree that it's really cool in that regard. Like, also, you could... There's... With it paying for itself from the first one, paying for itself off the climax, you could easily drop 1 or 2 of these down and do that, and do something similar to Yami, not stacking anywhere near as much for free, but
yeah,
it's not far from it, to be completely honest here. Come on. So
yeah,
it's just the fact is also the biggest issue being with Yami, its individual instances, which makes her just insane, but at the same time, this is still really nice. So I am all for seeing how that ends up playing out in the future. So after running off, we have 5, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate? But anywho, so giving that a second to load. So far, I like the Darkness Searcher so far, but
right.
But I mean, anywho, then we have.
Truthfully, I'm kind of partial to the Chris Brainstormer.
I can understand where you're coming from with that, especially because that can be splashed in any version that you want. So
yeah, anything that has adventurers can be perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
It'd be nice to have a deck searcher that's not, tied to a specific thing.
Yeah, and admittedly, it's also nice not to see something that's just like, it does this, but for basically the entire deck. So, or like for, not picking on it too terribly much, but, Sleeping Knights and the onstage Asuna both just say Avatar Net. You might as well just say SAO nearby.
Pretty much.
There are going to be some cards that don't have both of those, but they're very far and few between. So
I can only think of a few.
Pina, that's about it that I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah, fair enough.
If only I could slash in Excel World and SAO, I'd have a really good deck.
I don't think I want to see that, my dude. So we have... Okay, so that was the double rares. So now we're getting into the rares. So that's quite a few rares at that point. It goes from 5 to 12, so that's 7 rares. All right.
Yeah.
So we have Sniping Kazuma is a 0/500. So when this becomes reversed in battle, you may choose a card in your opponent's clock, put it in the waiting room. Choose a card. See, it doesn't state top.
Right.
Makes me wonder
if you can essentially color luck your opponent if you get lucky.
The way that this is worded... Okay, so let me continue. Sorry. You may choose a card in your opponent's clock, put it into the waiting room, and if you do, your opponent puts the top card of his or her library in clock. So what that states is, like you stated, like you can potentially color lock somebody because this also has
Uh,
another reverser effect on top of that. But it's like,
there's also
oh,
those cards that require specific cards to be in your level,
this is true too.
so
Early
you can get rid
plays.
of those as well.
hmm I've seen Matt do that with the Umi deck. There's like the Happy Maker Umi.
Right,
For a lot of his experience stuff has to be in the level. So if you're like, oh, I see you have a Happy Maker Umi there, we're gonna go ahead and get rid of that.
right.
So it's kind of situational, but I've seen it come up quite a bit, especially for
Right.
like SAO that needs green for the Zekanyuki or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
and then
Anything that splashes a small amount of a color
mm-hmm,
could be shut down by that.
absolutely, but yeah, very good odds of it anyway. And like the only other issue, you go to do that, and then the card that they put on top is the same color anyway. It'd be funny. Um,
Yeah, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, but even outside of that, this has an additional effect, which is when this becomes reversed, if the level of the battle opponent of this is 0 or lower, you can put that character into your opponent's stock. And if you do, you put the bottom card of your opponent's stock in the waiting room. So removal several times over between trying to color lock your opponent as well as stopping level zeros, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's 500. You're guaranteed to be able to get rid of that. So
I don't remember off the top of my head, but that would get rid of the anti-heal stuff as well, wouldn't it?
yeah, because you
It's smaller.
mm-hmm. One, it's smaller in general. That the Hibiki for anti-heal is only 1,000 power.
Right.
But also, if you purposely ram into it with any clock bombs, stop bombs, or whatever, you get theirs off the field before they get a chance to send it to memory for an anti-heal. You're correct. So, it's definitely something.
Yeah, potential spot removal is really good.
Well, this is interesting. Um, so I just was reading the. Go ahead and reading this next effect. So next is Decoy Kazuma. So it's a 500 assist in front for your characters, and then it has an act. Choose one beautiful goddess. Or you can put this on the bottom of your library. Choose up to one beautiful goddess of water, Aqua, in your hand, whose level is equal to or lower than your level, and put it in any slot of your stage. I'm going to go ahead and just pull it up. I'm not going to go over the effect, but it's called a Beautiful Goddess of Water. I just have to pull this up because this sounds like some shenanigans. It's early in the blue. It's going to be a fucking double rare.
Oh, it's a level 3. This is the way to play it for free.
Okay. But it says, in your hand whose level is equal to or lower than your level. So, I don't know if this is like a miswording of it, but does this mean that the way this is stated, her level, which is 3, is equal to or lower than your level?
Ah. She has a early play condition. So technically she could be level 2 in your hand.
Well, that's the thing. It says, okay, because if her level is lower than you. Okay, I'm sorry, I was misreading it. I was like, this is stating it could be brought out whenever I realized I was fucking up. Okay, you're correct. It has an effect. We'll just go ahead and show it here, just that first part. If you got 4 or more Adventurer Goddess or Axis Cult, she gets minus a level in hand. So, if you want to be able to play her, we're just going to show that part of the effect. If you want to basically be able to play her for no stock, this is how you do it. So, okay, I understand it now. I was looking at it weird, like, what the fuck? So, sorry, I had a brain fart. So,
It's fine, it happens.
indeed. So then, Joygasm Chris. I say that, but just it's the fact of this is like when Cosmo stole her panties. So anyway, Precious Thing Chris. So he just is like, oh wow, that's embarrassing. So it's 2 different effects. Oh wow, it even says it in the climax title. I wonder if it's going to state the same thing in English.
Absolutely not.
Climax combo. Give me back my panties. Placed in your climax zone. Choose one of your characters. That character gets the ability for the turn that when the battle opponent of this becomes reversed, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your library, search for 1 yellow or adventurer character, reveal it, put it in your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. I actually really like this because there's a Sasha that does a similar version of this effect. I think actually it might be almost exact um, form of this effect in AOT, and I preferred that for a nice little advantage engine. It's something you don't see as much as far as that. I really like it. So
it essentially turns any character into Nita Minami, right?
essentially, because it's the same top checking effect. Um, minus the like additional buff that she gets, sure, but it's the fact of the advantage engine. Yes,
Well,
it's
speaking of the additional buff, the second effect.
yeah. I was pulling up the "Give Me Back My Panties" is a split. Okay, the more of the split stuff is getting interesting bonuses. So choose up to 2 of your yellow characters, and they gain 2,000 power and 2 soul for the turn.
Oh
That's
boy.
yeah, that's huge. The additional 2 soul because you're targeting only yellow characters for this is fairly huge at like level 0 and 1, especially 1. So
True.
sorry. And then, like you stated, this thing has an additional one. Rest her to choose a character that is yellow or adventurer, and they gain 1,500 power for the turn. So, shoot, give something a 15 buff, and then play the climax. You can potentially almost give everybody a 2K buff, almost everybody, because this is a 15. The other 2 targets for the climax we gain 2K, or you can give like 35 all to one character that you're trying to do the combo for. That's awesome. Oh man, that's huge. Like that's just really really big. See, then if you use that dankness that already gets big outside of her climax combo, it becomes like a 6K. She comes in fucking 9.5.
Yep.
With the brainstormer, we're just piling it up here. 11K level 1. That's funny.
Mm-hmm. It essentially turns your level 1 climax combo into, any point of the game combo.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And being, like you said, being able to play that like as early as level 0.
It really is essentially a level 1 climax combo on a level 0 card that you can just give to any character you control.
Mm-hmm. So I can definitely see this being done for mono yellow deck, and just
yeah, absolutely.
So
even non mono yellow could be.
It's the fact that the climax, the buff can only go to yellow characters.
No, it can go to yellow or adventurer.
No, you're correct in the Chris's effect can go to that, but the climax itself only affects yellow characters.
Ah, right, yeah.
Sorry, I realized I misspoke. That's my fault. So, otherwise, like, even then, like you said, if you primarily have some yellow characters that get a buff there, cool. If not, you still can give it to anybody. So that's, or as far as like any adventure character as well. So, awesome. I'm liking that. So, then we have Sightseeing in Arcanredia. I'm going to butcher that, but they're sightseeing in the town that was
Axis Cult.
It was the Axis Cult thing. Yeah, you're right. Darkness is a 002K. So when this is placed from hand to stage, you may pay the cost, which is 1 stock and putting the top card of your library into your clock. If so, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your library, search for up to 2 yellow characters, reveal them, put them into your hand, put the rest into waiting room. So this can actually potentially give you +1.
Right.
Kind of. Because admittedly, you don't have to discard anything else from hand. So I should state it can give you +1 to hand.
Right.
Not, you still have to pay 1 stock and then do yourself damage. But at level 0, you don't fucking care. So that's actually really nice. This being restricted to only yellow characters, though. So.
Still.
Yeah. But I mean, that's reveal. Okay, they're both yellow characters. Show. Hey, look, I got more hand advantage, sucker. So interesting little like plussing thing there, or attempt at plussing. Because if you reveal two climaxes, it's like I got nothing.
Yeah.
Sorry in advance for whoever that happens to. They're like, that's never gonna happen to me. Oh wait, those base damage guys. They said this shit was gonna happen. So, anywho, so pulling up the next set of 4, which is going to be the last bit of the rares. And then after this, for uncommons and commons, if anybody, once again, if anybody has cards they feel need to be mentioned from that, please, please say so in the comment section. It'd be greatly appreciated. Mm-hmm. So, this is going to be simple, and I don't know if I had to block this out, Tim. Am I going to have to block out darkness and swimsuit?
Well,
maybe.
I don't know.
It is not much swimsuit, but a lot of darkness.
Yeah.
We're not monetized. Fuck it.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is 0025. Everybody's like, oh, you should totally monetize your account. Fuck that. No. If there are 2 or fewer cards in your stock, this gains 1500 power. So it can just become a 4K.
Yeah, pretty generic for... Becomes an oversize.
Yeah, considering we've seen a lot of other stuff that's like, well, more impressive so far to me.
Right.
So there is an uncommon card I have to mention. I just remembered it now. You'll like it. So, Forerunner Darkness, and this is not it's not a Vanguard reference because that's what they're like. The first character that you have to start out with is called a Forerunner or whatever. So a little tidbit of information there, but you see Bushi trying to slyly throw that in there. It's like, hey, we have this at the game. Just anyway, not saying that that's actually the intention. That's just me picking on them. So Forerunner Darkness is a 1/0, 45 1 soul. When this attacks, choose one of your other characters with either adventure or magic, and that character gains X power for the turn. X is equal to 500 times the number of your other characters with adventure or magic. So she can't target herself. Also, and a character encore. So can be reused, but she can't target herself and can potentially give somebody with a full field a 2k buff.
Right.
And that helps that it helps that level, like if you're sticking to the mono yellow, that helps the any of your previous 2 advantage engine combos, because you get to buff people more. That dankness, that's the searcher, you can potentially give her a bigger buff and almost guarantee her killing anything.
Pretty much.
So at that point, that's really nice. I was trying to think of there was a particular combo I was trying to think of earlier. We're talking about getting characters really buff and big, and I'm like, I know there's something really early on at level 1 that people hate. What was it? Oh yeah, shoutouts to Timmy. You could get over Soundless Voice with the prior combo we were talking about, getting her up to like 11.5 or some bullshit like that. Yeah. So you could potentially get over like a character or a Soundless Voice character, possibly. So that's what it was. I was like, I know there's something big at level 1. I can't remember it right now. So Shimakaze Kai, quote unquote, plus character encore. Once again, not as impressive, but it could still, the little extra buff could always be something.
Yeah, it's not that impressive, but when you consider all the back row stuff that can buff her,
fair enough.
I mean, she does become a substantial body at some points with encore.
True, like we were stating with, I mean, she's a target for that climax, from the Chris combo. The Chris could buff her as well, so fair points. So it could be a lot of math if people are willing to do the math, but I don't mind. Yeah. Hell, I'll try.
Yeah.
So with that, still, like you said, not bad. Just you do have to take other stuff into account at that point, so that is a big thing. Ooh, yay. Here is the other, see, this just looks funny to me. I forgot. It looks like a JoJo pose. I mean, it does. So, Power of the Mask Darkness. So, what she's saying, yada yada does it.
You would probably like this one.
I will? Alrighty.
Yeah.
So, 3/2, 10k to Soul. We have, at the start of your opponent's attack phase, oh fuck, I already see where this is going. You can pay 1 stock. If so, choose one of your characters with either adventure or magic, and this, then stand and swap them. I do like this already just from that effect, because I like the field manipulation with that.
Mm-hmm.
You can potentially mess up combos if your opponent's like, I know I can get over this character, and she just swaps in like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
So, possibly. If you got like, you know, if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, but I like that. I like the field manipulation, being able to do that on your opponent's turn as well. So
right, it combos well with the first set, Darkness.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, I want to specifically put you in front of this one, so that I can possibly send more damage and all that back, which would be crazy. Okay. Yeah. Another effect. During your opponent's turn, when damage taken by you isn't cancelled, if this is in the front row, look at the top card of your library, put it in either the top of the library or in the waiting room. Like you said, it combos even more, because if you scoot that other level 3 darkness in front of a character, and that damage isn't cancelled, 1, you get to do this effect. 2, you get to potentially send that damage back to them.
Right.
So yeah, that's a lot of awesome synergy with that initial level 3 dankness. So, and then here's the change effect. So at the start of your climax phase, you can put this in the waiting room. If so, you grab that the Vanir from before, this guy, and put it on the slot that this was on. So little Urza swapping there. So be able to bounce in and out as long as you got him in the waiting room, which that's whatever. At level 3, it doesn't seem like a big advantage to me though to do the swappage.
Not really. It's certainly not the best, but it's at level 3 you essentially just stall your opponent until you kill them with their own burn damage.
Fair enough. Like, I guess it can end up potentially working out. If it does, like you stated, you can potentially get rid of some damage and then still swap in for Musashi variable burn. So
right. Plus, his effect is on play via the change effect as well. So
that's why I was double checking.
He throws a lot of damage.
So interesting, if nonetheless, and I will be very interested in seeing if Kyle wants to try to run that, because he likes dankness for his decks as well. Another level 3. So running off Kazuma, so 3/2, 10k, 2 soul. If there are 2 or more emblem of a distinguished family in your memory, this gets -1 level in your hand, which is an event, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. Emblem of distinguished. It's an event, so he can get -1 level in your hand if that is in your memory. So when this is placed from hand to stage, we'll get up to X cards from the top of your deck. Choose one of them, put it into your hand, put the rest in your waiting room. X is equal to the number of your characters with either adventure or goddess. So, okay, so definitely can dig for potential climax combos.
Right.
That darkness before that can give the 2 cancel burn. You could basically put this in to be able to try to dig for it. So that's kind of cool. I like it in that regard. I feel like that could be like an easy tech one of, if nothing else, just for the digging effect.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably not for the early play condition. I wouldn't really worry with the early play condition as much, but I mean, fuck it. Let's pull up the event. And then I had one other one I wanted to pull up, because I remember I realize I have looked over these effects before. I almost got to check and make certain that this hasn't been in another podcast, but if it has, fuck it, I don't care. So, first off, the event emblem is look at up to 3 cards from your library. Search for a yellow, a red, and a blue card. Put them in your hand. Put the rest in your waiting room. Then discard a card and send this to memory. So in a tricolor deck, this could potentially net you a lot of advantage for a stock and sending it to memory.
Right.
So, okay. It's alright, but I really wouldn't mess with it personally. And
Yeah.
then...
It's too situational.
You're fine, dude. So, this is where... this is one of the cards I thought was just funny as fuck. Strongest at Rock, Paper, Scissors, Kazuma. It's a 1-0. This is probably the only uncommon I'm going to mention right now. 1-0, 5k. Experience. If this is placed from hand to stage, if the sum of level in your cards is 2 or higher, you play rock, paper, scissors with your opponent until you lose. If you win 4 or more times, you may deal 4 damage to your opponent. That is funny as hell to me. It's flavor. I really like it because it is flavor. And that's what the way it was. Kazuma never lost in the anime.
Yeah.
Not that I recall, anyway. So.
Yeah.
And then I did mention we would try to go over some of the promos before we ended this. So, obviously the yellow promo, if nothing else, which is a Poochie Veneer. I'm going to go ahead and pull them all up anyway. I want to see Poochie Union. That's going to be adorable. So.
Pretty much a standard oversized character.
Mm-hmm. So 1-0, 6-5. If you got 2 or fewer cards in stock, he can't attack. He looks weird. I'm sorry, the way that the mask having to be bigger just makes him look weirder.
Yeah.
Alright, then we have Poochie Wiz, 0025. Placed from hand to stage. Put the top 2 cards of your library in the waiting room. If there's at least 1 climax card amongst them, this gets the ability for the turn that when this becomes reversed, if the cost of the battle opponent of this is 0 or lower, you may reverse that character, which could potentially hit some level 1s.
Right.
If you mill a climax. So, that's funny to me. And then, Poochie Union. See, that looks adorable. When this activates up to twice per turn. I'm sorry, 0025. Up to twice per turn, when your other character with adventure or magic is placed from hand to stage, she gets 1,000. So, she could become a 4-5. Possibly. More grab for the adorable factor. And then this is also just as cute. Poochie Eris. 1065. Can't direct attack, which means open slots. She can't swing at. And the character opposite of this gains character encore. So it's still kind of fitting to the character at that point, because it's like it's the whole goddess thing. She
right.
brings people back. So it not something I would personally run, but it's cute if nothing else. So
agreed.
And that will be it for what we cover today. So I did realize I was like I have looked over this. I think I was at your house when we looked over some of this stuff. Now it's slowly coming back to me because I remember the Kazuma and I was like, oh wait, I do remember this set. I have done this, so that's brain fart on my part. I don't think we've done a podcast for it though. If we have, I'm sorry, but I'm going over it again. Fuck it. Anywho, so my thoughts real quick, and then we'll go to your thoughts and any other comments. So I'm liking it so far. I would enjoy trying to do like a mono yellow thing. I'm not certain what like the previous level 3 dankness is at price wise.
I think there's still quite a bit.
Probably. Would not surprise me in any way, shape, or form.
The short print is real.
Yeah, very true. So, but on top of that, and Kazuma always has some interesting effects anyway, regardless of whether it's that level 1 or whatever. I would definitely like to try to see if we could help, because actually Kyle had like a dankness deck or was working towards a mono dankness deck. So
right.
We might have to get up with him and try something for it. But that's my thoughts. I'm interested in it, and I want to see what it does. So, your thoughts, good sir?
It's certainly a welcome addition. I just see a lot of cards that I'm not going to be able to afford because of I have a high suspicion that this is going to be another short printed set.
Short printed and or one of my other potential concerns. I was going to share this more in the second part, but and that is there were quite a few cards from the first set, at least two that I can think of off the top of my head. I want to say it was more than two.
Mm-hmm.
That had to get errated, like horrendously errated, because
Yeah.
misprints, because of misprinting on cards. Megamines that were Winter Moment Akatsuki's turned into bad cards.
Right.
So, I really hope they don't do that again. Personally, that's whatever. I'm sorry. Please carry on. If you had any other
That's
thoughts. And I got
not
cheeses.
really.
Not really.
I'm just surprised that we're actually getting the set in general.
Agreed. Um, Surprised? Yes. Glad that we're getting it? Fuck yes, though. Because, hell, at this point, I'm just glad to see that we're getting stuff.
Yeah.
I'll be even more happy when we get confirmed dates, because at the time of this recording, there is nothing confirmed for dates for this, ReZero, or Apocrypha. Admittedly, two of those are just recently announced, like last week or the week before.
Right.
But the ReZero one is more what I'm talking about, and that's been announced for 2 or 3 weeks at this point.
Longer than that, I think.
Might be. I can't recall them like really off the top of my head, but I'm just glad we're finally getting them, and or finally getting more stuff announced and not having to wait 3 months hopefully each time.
Uh, I would expect we're gonna get ReZero probably end of the year.
Yeah, but I can see that happening too. I just really hope we don't have to wait that long between the two.
Yeah.
So, I mean, September, October, please, at the latest.
Yeah.
Considering that would like be the beginning of Fall Fest, though, if they did that for September, I would like to see that more happen at the beginning of Fall Fest.
Yeah. They probably won't release it around then.
Maybe August.
I mean, they pushed sets before to keep them out of events.
Yeah, specifically their own series, Bang Dream. I say they. We keep saying they, but Bushiroad did specifically push back. I say specifically for this reason, but it's been more suspicion than anything. It may not be true, but we think that they pushed back their own set, Bang Dream, as far as they did because they didn't want it to all of a sudden flood Springfest midway through. Instead, we had nothing going on for Springfest midway through.
Yeah.
So, anywho, yeah, I definitely agree. It's a surprise that we're getting this, but sorry for no Monogatari season 2 yet for anybody out there.
Honestly, at this point, I want more Prisma Ilia so I can make Jewel better.
Yeah.
I want to see level 3s in Jewel burn.
You want to see his Y form come over here?
Oh no, I don't care about Spy form. I care about the level 3 Luffy and Rins.
Fair
for
enough.
Timmy.
True, because I want to see that deck do even more. That shit was hilarious. It was even more.
I'm picking up the deck myself.
True.
Do this shit.
Well, it was funny enough sitting beside him at Springfest and watching him, beat top tier decks with Jewel Burn, and I'm like, the fuck is going on, dude? So.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
That wild one level's coming at you.
Ain't that the truth? So, but with that, we're gonna be signing off for now in just a sec here. Thank y'all very much for watching, listening, whatever you decide to do. Please subscribe if you want. It's greatly appreciated if you do. If not, hey, just thanks for swinging by. Hey, check out Miroku's decks that he's worked on between Nox Core, Elite Four, stuff like that. We're always trying to come up with some kind of budget thing in general. So, or at least attempting to anyway. So, what is your?
Yeah, some of them don't work out too well.
So, some of them were like, this did not go as planned.
Yeah.
Usually in a bad way. But
And then there's Nox Core that turns out so much better than I ever hoped for.
Quick note before we do sign off. The day that he was testing Nox Core, like in the middle of the tournament, he just kind of pulls me over to the side and goes, "I can't run this deck ever again. It's doing way too well. What the fuck is wrong? What's happened? Are y'all playing a prank on me?" So it was really funny. So
I'm not gonna lie, there have been days where I'm gone and mentally to myself gone, am I being played here?
so you won't on no episode of Punk, dude. Anyway, for real though, that conversation has happened. So, with that, we're signing off. Thank y'all very much, and we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace.